Well, Razorback fans, there was a lot of madness yesterday dealing with the coaching search. What's true and what's not? Well, let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday as you finally made it to the weekend. And we're going to spend a lot of time doing a little Locked On crossover with Michigan State as Arkansas and Michigan State basketball face off against each other tomorrow night. Yeah, it's tomorrow night. It's a night game. Cool. So we'll have some discussions on that and get to hear a little bit from the Michigan State side and everything. And we'll do a two-parter on the two-segment deal for that. But I wanted to start the podcast today with just kind of like laughing in an endearing way, at least, with the madness that goes on with Razorback coaching searches and everything that's happening with it, because it's never short of entertaining and interesting and curious and so much. And I'm going to be honest with all of you. I have been, like, again, I want to reiterate. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist. I hear things and I relay things. And if it's things I find interesting, if it's things I find legitimate, if it's things that I find fascinating for various reasons or relevant to the discussion, then I try to, and as long as I haven't been told not to share it, I try to share it with you and kind of look at it in a lens of that way. And as I've discussed many times, and weeks ago, I felt like I really started the conversation about the James Franklin angle. It has kind of stayed pretty steady. I think that there's still, there's at least still a growing idea behind the approach that they're having with James Franklin, and still really, really wanting him to be the guy. And I still think it's in the mix. I still think it's as good of a chance as any. I'm not going to sit here and say, there's my percentage on James Franklin being the next head coach of Arkansas, because there's so many things and so many factors that could go into it. But the fact that they are still talking and there are still legit negotiations going on, and there has been a pretty hefty commitment to the Razorback fan, or from the Razorback side of things, for putting up financial support, it's been really solid. But I think it's important to go through a few things on some of the details that I believe do matter when it comes to those things. Like, for instance, I saw some people were asking me about, so is it just the Waltons? Is it the Tysons? Is who's all involved in this when it comes to committing to the major financial part of this? And the realistic answer is it's not just one, but also I think people who just assume it's Waltons and Tysons and all that. It's not just what they're doing. Like, they're not just walking in, Doug McMillan from Walmart's not just walking in and being like, all right, give me on this search. How much you need? Let me here's a blank check. It's not like that. I think it's such a collective group of people that are dealing with it that I think that people have to understand that there's a certain process to it. And it's not simply just, here's these people that are involved. Also, too, dealing with James Franklin specifically, it's a very narrow-minded thing as far as just like, hey, we are working on this, and this is our main focus. We're talking, we're negotiating, we're looking at it, we're pulling it together, we're doing fundraising. We're trying to do whatever we can to try to make this thing work. And that was all the discussions and everything. Yesterday, though, is when a lot of things hit, for me at least. And I know there was a lot of rumor and speculation going on via social media and whatnot, which happens all the time. And I also want to be very, very clear on this. I am not bringing this up because of a social media post from some troll Twitter account, because I think that's where a lot of people attributed this story going towards, but that's not where I got this from because, folks, I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid. Like anything that can get said on social media doesn't mean it has relevancy or anything. But the big hubbub yesterday was about RYAN SILVERFIELD, the Memphis head coach. He's been one of those coaches that I've talked about. I know on Inside Arkansas Live, we've talked about it. I know that he's a coach that beat Arkansas this year. He's the head coach of Memphis. He's had a lot of success. And he was a guy that was an option. And honestly, when I think about RYAN SILVERFIELD, I like what he represents. I think he would be a really good coach. Like if Arkansas went with him, I think that it would be a good hire. I really do. We'll see how it would play out staff-wise, in budgets and NIL, like who's going to support him, all those things. But yesterday I kind of got this idea that from these tweets and whatnot, that's RYAN SILVERFIELD was going to be the next head coach of Arkansas. I think there was even a report that he was meeting with the team right now and talking with them and yada, yada, yada. Whatever. I didn't even pay any mind to it, any attention to it. It didn't matter. However, that changed a little bit when I got a text from somebody, I'm not going to say who, but somebody that I actually trust when it comes to media. And it was someone that's not even in Arkansas media. It's somebody who is pretty plugged in to the media side of things in the SEC, specifically football, and specifically dealing with the coaching search. And they sent me a text and just saying, hey, what you hearing about SILVERFIELD? I was like, you mean the troll tweet that's going around? And they're like, I don't know anything about that, but let me tell you something. I heard from somebody I know that it's a true legitimate thing, that there is a lot of smoke to that fire. And suddenly my heart sank a little bit because I'm like, wait, what about all this stuff that I've been hearing from people I know and trust? Could it possibly be like, somebody getting duped? Am I getting duped? Like, is one of those deals? So that's always the thing that you're kind of worried about. Not to say that my pride and my heart and my reputation would be tarnished. No, it wasn't that. It was more of just like, really, of all the things I've been hearing consistently. But anyways, so I followed up and like, man, you sure about this? Are you doing with this? And he told me, yeah, it's good info. It's very good info. May want to start checking around. So I got that. So I start checking around, and at least at the point of the recording of this podcast, there was some various answers that I got from people I know. There was answers of, yeah, I could see it happening. There was answers of, I have not heard anything whatsoever on that. There were answers of, I don't know what they're talking about. There's zero truth to that. And there were some that were saying, oh yeah, that's absolutely in the mix. Which is oh so frustrating and oh so annoying, because then it just changes your entire game plan and your entire view of everything. Now, I keep saying this, but let me make this clear. I'm not saying by me bringing this up that I'm changing my feeling on Arkansas and changing the whole thing of James Franklin and that the whole thing was false and all that. I am not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying that anytime that I get something legitimate from somebody legitimate, I have to at least consider it and look into it. If it ends up being true with SILVERFIELD, it's going to be really interesting to hear if there's any answers to some of the questions that'll be thrown. It's like, okay, so how did this happen? How did it go from this side to suddenly this side? Like what all went down? What all went to be the case? But my thing is yeah, would I rather have James Franklin? For sure. But I actually think RYAN SILVERFIELD would be really good too. I mean, I know some people wouldn't like it. They got their heart set on James Franklin, and anything less than James Franklin is going to be a failure, which I hate that mentality. But the point is that I heard this from people I know, from people I trust, from people that are legitimate, and it's worth at least putting into the mix. But I'll also say this too before I move on. There are these names that, like, there's so many names getting thrown around about everything. These are the names of the donors involved. These are the names of the coaches they're talking to. These are the names of this. I'm going to tell you right now, summarizing it for those who maybe not have heard or watched, listened to my podcast or anything like that. There are only two names two that I've heard legitimately mentioned with the Arkansas Razorback head coaching job. Okay? Two. As I said before, they were only talking to two people, 1 to 2 people. One of them was James Franklin. I did not know who the second one was. Okay? If this is the case, if Ryan Silverfield's that other guy, those are the two. Those are the two. Because those are the only two names that I have heard specifically from people that I legitimately trust and believe to have some sort of connection or inner workings into this coaching search. Does that mean that no other coach can be hired? That they aren't actually talking? Because somebody said, well, they're actually talking to this guy. Maybe so. Maybe so. I'm just telling you what I know. And what I know, and the only thing I've heard, is that there's only been two names mentioned. James Franklin's been the only one this entire time. And then Ryan Silverfield legitimately popped up yesterday. That's it. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But we'll get closer to it. We'll keep you updated on it. I promise you. And we're going to have some fun with it and just relax. That's the main thing. Relax. Enjoy the bye week. Enjoy the Arkansas-Michigan State game. Enjoy those things. It's about the weekend. So, but speaking of, we'll get into a little bit of the conversation when it comes to the Arkansas-Michigan State game. I'm doing a little Locked On crossover action coming up next. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, it's almost the weekend, and it's time to look back on this week's MVP of Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players deliver when it matters the most, so let's break it all down. Mine's going to be Trevin Brazile of Arkansas. Earlier this week against Southern, really came alive. Was a double-double machine, had a career-high 25 points, threw in 13 rebounds. I mean, just was incredible type of play. Very efficient. His athleticism was through the roof. And I really, really love how he's picking up right where he left off at the end of the last season. And who knows, maybe he can keep it going. It's going to be tough to see him against Michigan State because it's going to be a tough team to play. But it absolutely could be another time that he delivers. And just like Trevin Brazile delivered for Arkansas, DoorDash delivers on your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you can save every Saturday that you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, and also We Pig Suey Nation. That's right. It is another crossover episode here at Locked On Spartans, Locked On Razorbacks, because yes, John Neighbors, we are both taking a brief little interruption from both of our awesome football seasons to talk about that beautiful sport they call basketball. That's right. It is going to be a great showcase game on Fox Saturday night. Top 25 matchup between my Spartans, your Razorbacks, and John, I'll speak for all of Michigan State fans right now. A game like this on the basketball court comes at a great time. How about you guys over there in Fayetteville? Nothing can just be a more delightful sight than this right now, right?
Well, yeah, it's nice to see a product that people can be excited about and feel good about. And I don't know. Does Michigan State have a bye week this week? Or are they playing?
They do. This is a perfect time for a basketball game like this. Yes.
Okay, because Arkansas has a bye week in football this week, so it really worked out nicely. But you're right. Football's been tough, but at least the coaching search on the football side of things is keeping it somewhat interesting. But there's no doubt that basketball has arrived and so early in the season, but the expectations are high. The team so far has looked really strong for Arkansas. You have a Hall of Fame coach in John Calipari, which is still mind blowing to me at Arkansas. But yeah, it's hard not to get pumped up and excited, especially playing a big time team like Michigan State. They're in their home arena.
It's going to be an incredible matchup. There's no question about it. And look, just a quick tale of the tape. Michigan State obviously 1-0. We beat Colgate. Kind of a tight first half and then pulled away in the second half here. But there's this Arkansas team coming to town who you guys beat Southern by roughly 1 billion points, if I checked the box score correctly. And look, point blank, we'll get into what we're still looking for both of our teams later on. But right off the top, what is the one thing that you are sure about with this Arkansas team? What is the strength in the Razorbacks here?
Well, that's what makes it so much fun is that
Mm-hmm.
they are really, they're really good at a bunch of things. Now, it's not to say they're perfect. It's not to say
Sure.
that they doesn't come with some struggles, but it's the amount of options that they have. And so far, it's been the two freshman phenoms of DARIUS ACUFF and MELEEK Thomas. I mean, these guys, Donald's All-Americans, guys that are capable of being NBA lottery picks. It's a John Calipari freshman All-American type guys.
Classic,
And,
right?
Yeah, and so, but having those guys in there, you could see why everyone's so high on them. And it's been so fun to watch them. And then the first game against Southern, they both went for over 20 points. MELEEK Thomas is one of the quickest releases I've ever seen. You can shoot anywhere on the court. And ACUFF is just a very strong, settled in, strong, like just big player at that guard position. You throw in the retention that Arkansas has had from a year ago. They added some couple big men. I mean, they got all the pieces, and it's just a matter of can they put it all together. But it's nice to kind of see them have options instead of just, man, well, hopefully this one guy scores a bunch tonight or else we don't have a chance. They got plenty of dudes on this team.
That's one strength that I'm looking forward to in this individual matchup, too, for Spartans versus Razorbacks. Is the one thing that we're pretty sure about is that Jeremy Fears is going to be one of the better guards, point guards specifically, in the Big Ten. He's here for a third year, second year by eligibility because of an incident that happened in his freshman year. But he gets a medical red shirt. Any way you slice it. He came in here, McDonald's All-American, and now he is maturing into this third-year player. This is going to be a fascinating one because, just like you said, ACUFF, day one baller. Like, there ain't much of an unloading ramp for him to get started in college. He already looks the part right now. So, who's going to win this matchup? Is it going to be the older, more experienced Jeremy Fears? Will it be ACUFF, the top 10 recruit coming out of high school? Like, that is the one individual matchup I just cannot wait for. Now, if I can talk about a matchup I'm a little nervous for, John, it is the two front courts. And that's where a lot of experience comes from on the Michigan State side of things. If you want to call Cohen Carr front court player, by all means, go ahead. But I'm talking more specifically Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, two guys that have been here, which now seems like 9 years at this point. Defensively, there's some games they hold their own. There's some games they look really good. And then there's some games where, well, if you ask Tom Izzo, last game, that didn't look too great. Now I'm looking at Arkansas over there, and my God, are you guys tall? You guys had three guys, 6'10" or taller, each played double-digit minutes last game. John, I'm scared of that front court. Should I be scared of your tall players over there that are coming up?
You should be maybe scared of their upside and their potential, but it's still a matter of figuring it out because two of the guys with Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan are transfers, from one from Florida State, one from South Carolina, but they're experienced. In fact, fun little stat here that Nick Pringle is the second oldest player to ever don a Razorback basketball uniform ever.
Wow.
So, yeah, he's basically a dude. A man, and they got all the physicality because that was one thing that Arkansas struggled with last year, and what cost them essentially in the Texas Tech game in the Sweet 16 when they blew that big lead was they have big physical guys to get rebounds. They addressed that this year, and so with those two guys, and then throwing in Trevin Brazil, which he's been here a long time. I'm a huge Brazil fan. He is so tall, but he's so athletic. I mean, the guy can hit threes, but he can also dunk on you and posterize you. He's got all the pieces. Had a great game this last game. So all the pieces are there. It's just a matter of the complementary pieces of those guards, because if they get going, it's going to open up them. It's all complementary thing. But they're definitely some experienced guys because all of them down low are 4 or 5 year players in college basketball, which is always helpful.
Biggest concern for you guys going into this game, because I certainly have one. Locked On Spartans fans know the issue, and I'll talk about it here in a little bit, but I want to grill you first on this. What's going to give Michigan State fans just like a nice little twinkle in their eye as they're funneling into Breslin Center about to watch this game?
Well, the 3-point shooting defense or 3-point defense was really rough.
Okay. I like that. All right, good.
That was what Cal was very upset by. He even made the very snarky remark in his press conference saying, hey, did you think maybe if you get closer to the guy when he's shooting a three, you may have a better chance of playing defense against him? Like very, very snarky. And that is problematic. Inside, as I know is Southern, but inside Southern couldn't do anything at all. They hit some threes. And that's kind of been my concern, at least in the early going, is the 3-point defense. But also, this is going to be the most physical team. I mean, this game has only been 2 exhibition games in the regular season, but most physical game on the road. How are you going to handle the physicality? You're going to lose your cool. You're going to handle it. To me, that's the most concerning thing, and why it's a concern because of the mystery behind it. Not necessarily like they're going to be bad at it. It's just, hey, this is a great test to see just how physical you are, how strong you are.
Yeah.
And I think going up against a team like Michigan State, especially on the road, is going to be a good test for that.
I do not think that you will be wrong with the physicality here. And this comes off the heels of Michigan State. They beat Colgate on Monday night, and it's just the perfect way to start a season. You get the win. You look underwhelming in many aspects of the game, and you get Tom Izzo fired up. And based on his press conference, I started to feel horrible for the players because this week of practice probably rivals like Navy SEAL Team 6 training. I mean, he was calling out everyone. Everything didn't matter if he had an awesome game on Monday or a bad game, but he was also calling out that defense, and I think some just masculinity is also going to be called out here this week. So, look, you could always count on physicality at the very baseline for a Tom Izzo team, but coming off the heels of a game like that where your coach is talking like that, I think it's going to be even more cranked up for a game like Saturday. But that is nice to hear. Now, maybe three-point defense could be an issue because that's where my issue lies, John, is just three-point shooting. And look, Locked On Spartan fans have heard me talk about this time and time again, but they've lost some players from last year's team, like Jace Richardson, who's now in the NBA, or other guys like Trey Holloman, who transferred out, Jaden Akins, who ran out of eligibility, Xavier Booker, who transferred away to UCLA. And while they all didn't have their greatest shooting years last year, they at least had a history of showing they can hit those shots, and that had the defense need to respect them, space the floor out, open up some lanes. Whereas this year, your only three-point shooters are, well, Trey Fort, transferred from Samford. Kurt Tang is supposed to be one, very young in his career. It's still like a wait and see how real this thing is sort of thing. Jackson Kohler has shown it, not consistently though. Cohen Carr has shown it, not consistently though. So it's a twofold thing. It's one, 3 points are more than two. And that helps in the game of basketball. I know that's where we're getting really in the weeds here. But the second part is, like, if they don't respect your three-point shot, especially with the length that you guys have at Arkansas, my God, that's going to make the spacing interior just not even exist. So, like, you got to hit shots early on. You got to show that the defense needs to respect you from three-point land. And we just didn't really see it in the exhibition game. It was okay against Colgate, but this is going to have to be a few game sample size sort of thing here. So it's got to start materializing at home on Saturday night.
I will say this too. I will say this too. This is another thing that Carter Knox did not play in game one. That we don't know if he's going to play in this one. So that's another thing to watch out for. A great wing and one of the biggest factors of Arkansas' success last year as a true freshman. Dude's incredible. And again, he didn't play. He's dealing with a little bit of a foot issue, but it's not serious.
Okay.
If he comes out there and play, it's just another added piece of depth. But if he does, I think Arkansas still can make up for it. But it's definitely something to watch for if you're Michigan State.
All right, John. X Factor. Now, you mentioned Knox beforehand. Is it just simple as that he's going to be the X Factor for Arkansas? Because, we know the freshman that you talked about already, but who's like the guy laying around in there in the weeds that is really going to make a difference this game?
Well, to me, the Carter Knox has the potential, but it's just a matter of like how healthy he is. You know?
For sure.
Feeling comfortable and all that. And it's quite something. I don't care who you are or if you are experienced. Like if your first game back, at least in full time and the full swing of things, is on the road against Michigan State in that hostile environment, there's always an interesting factor to that. But to me, I'm going to go with Billy Richmond, who is a player that was a freshman last year. He was also one of those highly recruited guys. I don't know exactly how, if this is the case, but he's increased his vertical extremely. And I don't know how, but he is a freak athlete. He's worked on his game. His shot making ability has been better. He didn't have the best game this past week, but he's a high energy guy. He's a guy that's going to get a technical at some point. Like he'll probably get a guy. He talks, he gets in people's faces. He doesn't put up with anything. And to me, he's one of those guys, when he gets going, the energy just goes through the roof for the team. He's an energy guy. So I think if Billy Richmond comes in here and has a really good game, that could trickle out to all the other players and really be an impact in it.
I like that. X Factor over here, we are going to go with the new guy, the transfer from Samford, who I think is on like literally I think it's like 7th school in the last 6 years, even if you go back to high school or something like that. But yeah, Trey Fort, because he's been at every level of college basketball. He's played at Mississippi State, just came from Samford. Like I said, he's played junior college, but this is the biggest platform that he's been on. And my God, like if we know anything about this kid, confidence not an issue. Like he's got the green light. Like he is ready at all times. So if he can get going early, can a few 3-pointers early on. Look, we need stability at the 2-guard position, whether it's going to be him, whether it's going to be Kurt Tang. But I think that's going to be our X factor here. Now, if I could open up the conversation to like kind of keys of the game, X factor of the game, not specifically to a player, I look at Jeremy Fears because I'll tell you what, opposing fans will hate this, and I hate it too when I see it done against my team, but it is a skill in basketball these days, especially when you're the home team. Foul baiting. My guy Jeremy Fears has a deep, endless bag when it comes to getting guys on his hip, hitting the pause button, draws contact, and there he is. Hey, Jeremy Fears is shooting 8 free throws this game. Hey, he's got the guy in foul trouble 8 minutes into this game. Maybe with younger guys, those 5 stars, those high schoolers, maybe that's going to be a key to the game. It's going to be nasty. Some might even call it non-ethical. But John, like, that's going to make a difference here. Are you excited for the Jeremy Fears experience on Saturday night?
Well, listen, as somebody who loves still to this day Jalen Williams from Arkansas, who took so many charges back when he played a few years ago that they changed the rule of it. I think he ended up taking 50 charges, something like that.
Wow.
I respect it. And it made everybody mad, and I get why they hated it. But when it's your guy, you love it. So I'm all for it. But it goes to kind of what you're talking about with this game and matchup. I don't think Michigan State, and you'll speak more on it, they're not a team that may be able to come from behind as much. It's just not what they're built. And to me, it's about Arkansas getting off to a great start. Because on the opposite side, Michigan State also is not the type of team that if they get up by 12, 14 points with 10 minutes left in the first half, that it's going to take a grind to get back on that. So to me, for Arkansas, it's about your start. You cannot get down big. They got down big to Memphis in the exhibition. Now they stormed back and beat the crap out of them, but you won't be able to do that against Michigan State. You cannot walk in there, get punched in the mouth, and Cal's having to take a timeout 3 minutes into the game to stop the momentum because they're down 9-0. Like, you cannot do that. You have to get it going early, especially in that raucous environment, which I assume is going to be raucous. I mean, it's going to be a 25 matchup. I mean, Calipari's coming to town, and I'm jealous of that. Wish I could be up there, but it's going to be about the start for Arkansas for me.
It's going to be fascinating to see if MSU can be a come-from-behind team at any point this season. And, like, they had to do it quite often last year. And even though they weren't one of the best three-point shooting teams, like, by any stretch of the imagination, when they stuck to the Tom Izzo philosophy, which, like, was missing the last few years, but last year it came back, it was defend, rebound, and run. Like, their defense, still solid. Their rebounding, I think they only got out-rebounded 2 or 3 times all year last year, and they were dynamite in transition. So, like, it's weird. Like, they don't have, like, a great half-court offense. They don't have that firepower from 3. But if they can still harken back to what they had last year, which is still to be determined in this very young season, like, they can be against all odds. So it's not like I want to say, hey, I hope Arkansas goes up early. I do want to see it at some point this season to see what it does look like in this next chapter, to see how much carryover there was from last year, especially without Jace Richardson, because that was our go-to guy for the second half of the season. Someone had to emerge at being a bucket getter in the half-court offense, and it ended up being him. So who's going to take over for him? Can anyone take over for him? So, yeah, that's the other big key here is rebounding. That was Michigan State's calling card last season. Jackson Kohler, dynamite rebounder. Carson Cooper, great rebounder. But, man, I look at those tall trees down in Arkansas. Oh, boy, that's going to be a tough task. I mean, that might spell the game right there. That could be the absolute key to the game, is this rebounding margin here. I mean, yeah,
because Arkansas still has, again, early results of it, but they still have not been great at offensive rebound, or giving up offensive rebounds is what there was a problem last year. Okay. They gave up too many for my liking against Southern. So, yeah, it's going to come down to how do these players handle the physicality. Are they winning those 50-50 balls? Are they going out there and getting to the foul line? And when they get to the foul line, are they taking advantage? Because the free throw shooting is a little suspect at times too so far. So it's just a matter of, are you going to take what Michigan State can give you? And are you going to back down when things get a little too physical? I'd like to think Arkansas is not going to. You have, again, a lot of experience from major conference play guys, especially with your bigs. So it's not that Michigan State can't do it, but they shouldn't. Michigan State should not have something that Arkansas and some of these guys have never seen before. As far as like, whoa, is this how it's going? It's not like you have freshmen out there, right? You got dudes. So it's going to come down to for me that way of, can you be the more physical team in times and then just set up the other guys for success?
So the computers over at barttorvik.com right now, they have Michigan State winning this game 77-75. Does that sound right, or are you going to argue those computers, John?
I mean, listen, I feel like Arkansas is going to win just until I'm proven otherwise type thing. Because and it's not to say that, oh, if Arkansas loses this game, it's a massive failure.
Yeah, of course.
Right. It's just, hey, listen, Arkansas's look good in their 3 games we've seen. So, but I believe it's going to be kind of nasty and kind of low scoring. I think I don't know exactly what the over under is, maybe like 154.5. Give me the under. I think this could be one of those final scores for either team winning 64-61, something like that. And if that happens, Michigan State's going to win this game. That's how I view it. But if it gets into the 70s, 80s, I like Arkansas's chances. That's their game. They have, again, the offensive firepower. They have so many options, so many guys that can hit threes, so many guys that can go inside. That guys that can do so many different things. I would like it to be a higher scoring game because I feel better about Arkansas's chances. But if Arkansas can't get the offense going and they struggle against the defense of Michigan State, I think the Spartans are going to have short work of the Hogs in this one.
You took all the words out of my mouth. Like, I think it's going to be a low-scoring kind of grimy game. I think that would really benefit Michigan State. And that's not to say, they can't score, but between the two teams, I'm going to side with Arkansas here. So, yeah, let's just get back to, like, mid-2000s level Big Ten basketball, blood all over the court, no fouls being called. Like, let's do this old-fashioned Big Ten style. So I think MSU pulls away with the win here. I don't anticipate a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. I do think it'll come down to 1 or 2 possessions here. So we'll see here, John. Do you mind if I just pepper you with a quick football question here in a hot second after I talked about Supply House to these people?
Yeah, I reckon we can do that.
Yeah, why not? Tis the season for both of our programs here. First, guys, need to talk everyone's ear off about Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while our industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Well, there it is, Supply House. They have the next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. And the part finder tool and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Now, up here in East Lansing, we're kind of hoping, at least a lot of us are, that there will be a coaching search. You guys got in on the mix very early on this season. Now, you do have the old chicken guy down there doling out money. I heard that, hey, you know what, James Franklin, he could be a good candidate, but, I want him to be our candidate one day, John. I don't think there's going to be a lot of overlap between, Michigan State candidates and SEC candidates, but this is one of them. Is James Franklin, the golden ticket for you guys, or is there someone higher up on your board right now?
I mean, to me, Michigan State or James Franklin, with being from the Big Ten, and you think about a place like a Michigan State, if he was ever to be at that place, I mean, it would make sense because of what he's experienced. But I think people sometimes forget he was at Vanderbilt, and
yeah, sure was.
Had some good success at Vanderbilt. I think for Razorback fans, they've been in this purgatory of football irrelevance, and it's really pissed them off because there's no reason for them to be in that bad. No one's saying they should win championships, but ever since Bobby Vitrino wrecked the motorcycle, which is ironic, he's the head coach again. Arkansas not been great, and they hired one Big Ten coach in Brett Bielema, and that didn't work out. So I think Franklin is one of those guys where it's okay, he was successful at Penn State. Did he get to the level? Apparently not, because they fired him. He proved he could win in the SEC at Vanderbilt. He's a big name, high energy. To me, it's the best of all worlds. What's the worst James Franklin does at Arkansas? Wins 7-8 games. That's been better than what you've been doing. So it's an upgrade. I think that's where a lot of the energy is going towards. I know that Arkansas is very interested. I know that he's interested. Will he get the job? Time will tell. But it's just Arkansas has to nail this one. They have to get it right. Seeing programs like Ole Miss and Missouri and A&M and Indiana, it's nothing against those programs, but Arkansas, there's nothing different from them than those. If they can do it, we should be able to do it. So I feel like he would be the one that James Franklin, that is, would be the one that brings everybody together the most.
So is that like the top guy then, James Franklin, in your opinion? Yeah, cool, awesome. Well, shoot, that's a bummer. I don't know. Maybe we could do like a swap. Like he coaches half the season for you guys, half the season for us. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, I'm going to be honest. I had to look up y'all's coach's name. I could not even know who. I did not even.
So
know
do some of our fans on some Saturdays. That's how very rarely he's seen on camera because he just look lifeless on the sidelines. You could tell. I love how things are going up here. John, I actually love this conversation. Half because like it's basketball season. It's nice to talk about a sport that brings hope and just energy to our fan base. And half, hey, you know what? I know you do great work down at Locked On Razorbacks, and it's very awesome that we actually got to do a crossover show. We're actually meeting up on some level of competition here. Not a bowl game, certainly, but we'll take a basketball game.
Well, let me just be very clear about this for basketball. Tom Izzo, you better not retire after this season. I'm going to be livid beyond belief. Because you have to come down to Bud Walton next year in Arkansas.
Yes.
And I'm going to be ticked off if maybe you got a son that you like. That's the thing these days. Just let your son take over as the head coach.
Yes, right.
If it happens at Michigan State or some crap like that, we don't get to see Tom Izzo here in Fayetteville and Bud Walton. I'm going to be livid. So give us one more year at least. I don't know if he's even thinking about retiring or anything like that, but give us one more year so we get to see this because I wish I could be up there. I really do because I love going to basketball opposing places, and Michigan State was the Izzone, all of that. Such a cool thing. Yeah, I hate I can't go, but I'm glad we're doing home and homes for these and not just the neutral side ones. It's great.
1,000% agree. I don't think Tom Izzo is going to be slowing down anytime soon, especially with this recruiting class that he's building. I mean, I don't know what pumps through that man's heart, but it's more high octane than blood. Like this man's just got no sign of slowing down, so he will be at Arkansas next year. You can rest assured that.
Let me ask you just a real quick question.
Yeah.
I'm curious of your thoughts. There's a lot of similarities about Izzo and Cal, kind of like if you look at their, both only have one championship, bunch of Final Four.
Sure.
Do you feel Tom Izzo is a better coach than John Calipari? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, that's a good one. That's going to upset some people because, I'll be a homer. Of course I will. Yeah. But man, that's a good definition. Like, how do you define what a really good coach is? Because on one hand, like Calipari, like, yes, one national title, he's fallen short with a lot of loaded rosters. But on the other hand, he's getting these loaded rosters because he is such a good coach. So, man, that's a real like flip of the coin answer there. I'm going to go with my guy, 8 Final Fours, won the Big Ten by 3 games last year, still doing it his way in a sense at the age of 70. So I'm going to go with Tommy here. You're going to go with Cal, I think?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go with Cal just because I don't like Tom Izzo and I never have.
So, that hurts. No,
I know.
Saving that until the end. Oh,
I know. I never liked him. He just seems and I'm sure this is going to upset your Michigan State fans, but you know what? You guys aren't going to care about me at all ever. So I just don't like. I felt like he was always very whiny, and I felt like he was very overrated. Kind of reminded me of like a Bob Stoops. It's like, yeah, okay, you won a title 25 years ago, all right? That's all well and great, but that was back during the Clinton administration. Like, come on now, like we got to move on from here. But that's what makes it so fascinating, though, is that these are two old-time Hall of Fame level coaches that, not to say they're holding on to anything because they're both highly successful still, but there's just an interesting dynamic of these guys have been around a very, very long time. Everyone's all about the Nate Oateses and the Danny Hurleys.
Yeah, of course.
Coaches, but these are some old school guys with some historically solid programs. And of course, Cal's brand new here at Arkansas still. Yeah. Can't get over the fact that he's here, but it's going to be a great matchup. Man.
So next year when Tom Izzo is coaching at Arkansas, there's going to be a guy with a ski mask putting him in a headlock. We all know who it is. That'll be the quickest investigation of all time. It's John Neighbors of Locked On Razorbacks. Well, thanks for making that easy, John. Guys, I'm going to be back on my side of things, Locked On Spartans, because against all odds, if you want to win money, start fading this next segment. We're doing 5 best bets on my end, but John over there, Locked On Razorbacks. I'm over here, Locked On Spartans. No matter what happens Saturday, you'll hear about it on both of our shows. John, thanks again. Much appreciated talking to you. And, there's one more thing I want to leave with you. This is just a personal anecdotal story. No one could possibly care about this, but I'll share it anyway. This is going to be a road venue for me on Saturday because I'm going to be home with my 2 kids, age 5 and 2. On Saturday, we watch college football. And we go through like what each fan base says, over here, it's go green. Arkansas was on TV. I said, hey, they say we pig suey.
Nope. You messed it up.
No. Okay, I'll edit this part out then. What is it then?
Woo pig suey.
Well, someone's got to tell the kids upstairs that say it every single weekend now. Arkansas won't even be won't even be on our television. They're still walking around the house saying we pick Suey, so it's woo pick Suey. I got some corrections to make upstairs. So I got a feeling when that game is on, it's just me and the fellas on Saturday night. I'm just clinging on to my Michigan State just fandom. They're going to be just around the house like Arkansas Razorback fans. So,
hey, we'll take whatever ones we can get.
Road game for me up here. So, all right, guys. Hey, until next time, again, we'll see you for 5 best bets. And over there, hey, you'll hear John whenever you hear John next.